Welcome to the week ahead for financial markets. Mike Smith, Senior Analyst and Head of Client Education and Trading here to lead you around what's going to be going on over the next 5 days that may influence sentiment and that you need to prepare yourself for in case there is significant changes. Some key things coming on this week, and we've identified our top five for you to keep an eye on. So let's start with where the markets are now. And of course, we are at new record highs that we hit last week. Despite everything that's been thrown at markets, the buying seems to just continue. A little bit of a pullback on Friday, just perhaps a bit of profit taking as we entered the weekend. But without doubt, the markets remain buoyant. Of course, we are being led by the Magnificent Seven. Tech stocks doing very well. Keep an eye, particularly on Nvidia and Microsoft. As always these days, they seem to be very worth keeping an eye on, as they are such market leaders at this stage. Of course, we do have the 90-day pause ending on Trump's initial tariffs on Japan, the Eurozone, and others. The 9th of July is the key date. Likely that there will be some announcements or hints before that date about what may or may not happen. But obviously, there has been some concerns that unless the pause is continued, which is very much a possibility for at least some of those, then we may see a market response to such. More locally, of course, the Reserve Bank of Australia is meeting this week and are expected to cut rates by 0.25%. Over an 85% chance that that may happen is priced in. Of course, two questions. Will it actually happen, or will they decide to pause to August? And of course, what next? And we'll see this telegraphed to some degree, not only in this statement, but also in the subsequent press conference after announcement. One of the stories over the last few weeks has been the demise of the US dollar. Is this likely to continue? Well, much of this will depend on some of the key events that we've already discussed today, but of course, ongoing data will be influential in terms of is the US economy likely to weaken over the course of the coming months? Of course, the big, beautiful bill was passed at the end of last week. There are concerns about the level of debt that that adds to the US. But I suspect the market has already potentially priced that into some degree. But watch for any of the key data points over the coming days. Let's just have a look at the USD just to show you where it's at. And you can see here we've really been in steady downtrend since the beginning of the year. We did have that retracement towards the back end of April, but since then we've worked our way back down to move through 3-year lows. We're at around about February 2022 levels. And you can see the lower line on that chart. That's the line to keep an eye on. Should we breach that, that may precipitate some more selling, of course. So that technically looks very important. And finally, just keep an eye on data coming out of China. We do have PPI and CPI this week. Markets are never happy in a deflationary environment, and we could potentially see that continue in China, suggesting signs of weakness. Any impact from tariffs will be watched for, and that could be significant, of course, not just for China itself, but also the state of the global economy. There's your 5 things to keep an eye on. Of course, you can join in our live market updates live on YouTube on Monday and Thursday. Of course, our inner circle session on Wednesday, where we have a deeper dive into something educational. This week, we are looking at exits in some detail. And of course, we're always happy to help. So please feel free to give our wonderful support team a call at any stage should you need our help. Have a great week. Trade safe and see you again soon. Bye bye for now.